There comes a moment in every person's life when comfort disappears. It might happen quietly. A plan fails. A relationship ends. An opportunity slips away. Suddenly the world feels less predictable than it once did. Or it might happen all at once. Pressure builds, expectations rise. Responsibilities grow heavier. The life that once felt simple becomes complicated. In those moments, most people search for something to hold on to. Some search for motivation, others search for reassurance. But a few search for something far more powerful. They search for mental strength, strength that does not collapse when life becomes difficult, strength that remains calm in uncertainty, strength that transforms obstacles into training. More than 2,000 years ago, Stoic philosophers developed a system for building that kind of strength. It was not designed for comfort, it was designed for resilience. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca practiced these ideas while leading others. Their teachings were not theoretical ideas. They were survival tools, tools designed to make the mind unbreakable. In this video, we will explore 8 brutal Stoic laws that slowly transform the way you think. Some of these ideas may challenge the way you see the world, but if you stay with them long enough, they can change the way you experience life itself. And if you want to continue learning powerful Stoic ideas that strengthen discipline, resilience, and clarity, consider subscribing to this channel, because mastering the mind may be the most valuable skill a person can develop. Let's begin. 1. You control less than you think. One of the most uncomfortable truths in life is that we control very little. We cannot control how others think about us. We cannot control unexpected events. We cannot control the past. And yet people spend enormous amounts of energy trying to control all of these things. They replay conversations that already happened. They worry about situations that may never occur. They become frustrated when reality refuses to match their expectations. This constant struggle creates emotional exhaustion. But Stoicism begins with a powerful realization. There are only 2 categories in life: things within your control and things outside your control. Your thoughts are within your control. Your actions are within your control. Your reactions are within your control. Everything else belongs to the world. The Stoic teacher Epictetus taught that peace begins when we stop trying to control what belongs to fate. Imagine how much mental energy is wasted every day worrying about things that cannot be changed. Now imagine redirecting that energy towards something different. Self-improvement, discipline, character. When your attention moves inward instead of outward, something remarkable happens. Life becomes clearer. Instead of fighting reality, you begin mastering your response to it. And that response determines far more about your life than circumstances ever will. A mentally unbreakable person does not demand that life be easy. They train themselves to respond wisely when life becomes difficult. And that training begins with accepting a simple truth. Control yourself, release everything else. If this perspective is helping you rethink how you approach challenges, subscribe to the channel so you can continue strengthening your Stoic mindset. Because the path to mental strength begins with clarity about what truly belongs to you. 2. Comfort quietly destroys strength. Comfort is seductive. It feels safe. It removes friction from daily life. And at first there seems to be nothing wrong with that. But too much comfort slowly weakens the mind. The Stoic philosopher Seneca warned that luxury creates fragile people. When life becomes too easy, we forget how to handle difficulty. We become dependent on perfect conditions. But life rarely offers perfect conditions. Challenges appear without warning, plans collapse, unexpected hardship arrives. And when someone who has lived entirely within comfort meets real difficulty, the shock can be overwhelming. This is why Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort. Occasionally they chose simple food instead of luxury. They accepted inconvenience rather than avoiding it. They reminded themselves that happiness does not depend on constant comfort. This practice had a powerful psychological effect. It trained the mind to remain calm even when circumstances changed. When you occasionally step outside comfort, fear begins losing its power. You discover something important. You are stronger than you thought. Temporary discomfort no longer feels like danger. It feels like training. Over time, this mindset transforms challenges. Hard work becomes meaningful, difficult days become opportunities, setbacks become lessons. The goal is not to seek suffering, the goal is to stop fearing it, because a person who is not afraid of discomfort becomes extremely difficult to break. If lessons like this are helping you develop a stronger mindset, subscribe to the channel so you can continue exploring Stoic ideas that build resilience. Because strength grows where comfort ends. 3. Time is slipping away faster than you think. Time is strange. When we are young, it feels endless. Days feel long. Years feel distant. We believe there will always be another opportunity later to pursue our goals, later to change our habits, later to become the person we want to be. But as life moves forward, something becomes clear. Time moves faster than we expect. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote that life is not short, we simply waste much of it. Think about how easily time disappears. Minutes become hours, hours become days, days quietly become years. Most of this time is not lost through dramatic mistakes. It disappears through small distractions, procrastination, indecision, mindless habits. The Stoics believed awareness of time creates clarity. When you remember that time is limited, your priorities change. Petty conflicts become less important. Distractions lose their appeal. Meaningful work becomes more valuable. Each morning becomes something more than routine. It becomes an opportunity to invest your time wisely. Small improvements repeated daily eventually transform your life. A few pages of reading each day becomes knowledge. A few minutes of reflection becomes wisdom. A few disciplined habits become a stronger character. A mentally unbreakable person treats time as a precious resource. They do not drift through life unconsciously. They live intentionally. And if reflections like this help you think more deeply about how you use your time, subscribe to the channel so you can continue learning Stoic principles that bring clarity and purpose to everyday life. 4. Your thoughts shape your experience of reality. There is a quiet force influencing nearly every moment of your life. It is invisible, yet powerful. It shapes how you interpret events, how you react to challenges, and how you see yourself. That force is your thoughts. Two people can experience the same event and walk away with completely different emotional reactions. One person sees failure. Another sees a lesson. One person sees rejection. Another sees redirection. The external situation is the same, but the interpretation is different. Stoic philosophy teaches that many of our emotional struggles come not from events themselves, but from the meaning we attach to them. The Stoic teacher Epictetus explained this idea clearly when he wrote that people are disturbed not by events, but by their opinions about events. Think about how often the mind creates negative assumptions. A mistake becomes proof that you are not capable. A delay becomes proof that success is impossible. A criticism becomes proof that others do not respect you. These interpretations feel real, but they are stories the mind is creating, and stories can be changed. Once you realize this, something powerful happens. You begin questioning the automatic reactions that once controlled you. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What can this teach me?" This small shift transforms obstacles. Problems stop feeling like personal attacks. They become opportunities for growth. The Stoics trained themselves to view adversity through this lens. They understood that the mind can either exaggerate suffering or transform difficulty into strength. The choice lies in interpretation. If you train your mind to look for lessons instead of defeat, challenges begin losing their emotional weight. You become calmer during setbacks, more patient during uncertainty, more resilient when plans fail. Because your thoughts are no longer amplifying the problem, they are guiding you through it. A mentally unbreakable person does not live in a perfect world. They live in the same unpredictable world as everyone else. The difference is how they interpret it. An interpretation begins with awareness. If reflections like this are helping you rethink how your mindset shapes your life, consider subscribing to the channel. Here we explore powerful Stoic ideas designed to strengthen discipline, emotional control, and clarity, because mastering your thoughts is one of the greatest forms of freedom. 5. Stop chasing approval. Many people spend years of their lives trying to be accepted. They seek recognition from co-workers, validation from friends, approval from strangers. At first, this seems natural. Human beings are social creatures. We want to feel respected and appreciated. But chasing approval can quietly become a trap. Because approval is unstable. It changes constantly depending on the people around you. Someone who praises you today may criticize you tomorrow. Someone who admires your work today may ignore it later. If your confidence depends on the opinions of others, your peace of mind will always feel fragile. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the opinions of others are often careless and temporary. Most people are too busy worrying about their own problems to analyze your life deeply. Yet many of us still allow those opinions to guide our decisions. We hesitate to pursue goals because we fear criticism. We adjust our beliefs to avoid disagreement. We perform for approval instead of acting according to our values. Stoicism offers a powerful alternative. Instead of seeking approval, focus on integrity. Ask yourself a different question. Did I act with honesty? Did I treat others fairly? Did I remain calm under pressure? Did I stay aligned with my principles? These questions build something stronger than external validation. They build self-respect. Self-respect is quiet. It does not depend on applause. It does not require public recognition. It exists because you know your actions align with your values. This type of confidence is extremely stable. It cannot be taken away by criticism. It cannot be destroyed by temporary disapproval. When you stop chasing approval, life becomes simpler. Your decisions become clearer. Your energy stops flowing toward pleasing others. Instead, it flows toward building character. A mentally unbreakable person does not shape their identity around public opinion. They shape their identity around principles. Over time, this mindset creates independence. You begin acting with authenticity. You speak honestly. You pursue meaningful goals without constantly looking for permission. This does not mean ignoring feedback or refusing to learn from others. It means refusing to surrender your self-worth to the changing opinions of the crowd. When you live according to your values, something interesting happens. People may still criticize you, but their opinions lose the power to control your peace of mind. Your stability no longer depends on external validation. It comes from within. If lessons like this resonate with you, and you want to continue strengthening your Stoic mindset, subscribe to the channel. Together we explore timeless ideas that help people develop resilience, discipline, and clarity in a complicated world. Because the strongest form of confidence is the kind that does not require approval. 6. Adversity reveals who you really are. It is easy to appear confident when life is comfortable. When everything goes according to plan, anyone can feel calm and optimistic. But life does not remain comfortable forever. Unexpected challenges appear, plans collapse, opportunities disappear, and suddenly the environment around you changes. These moments reveal something important. They reveal the habits of your mind. When pressure appears, your true mindset becomes visible. Do you panic or pause? Do you complain or adapt? Do you collapse emotionally, or do you search for solutions? The Stoic philosophers believed adversity was one of life's most powerful teachers. Not because hardship is pleasant, but because hardship reveals where your character is strong and where it still needs growth. The philosopher Seneca compared adversity to fire testing gold. Weak material burns away. Strong material becomes purified. Every difficult experience exposes parts of your thinking that might normally remain hidden. It reveals impatience, it reveals fear, it reveals doubt, but it also reveals courage, discipline, and resilience when those qualities are present. This is why Stoics did not see adversity only as a problem. They saw it as training. Each obstacle becomes a chance to practice calmness. Each setback becomes a moment to strengthen patience. Each failure becomes an opportunity to learn. The more often you approach difficulty this way, the stronger your mindset becomes. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking a different question. What is this experience teaching me? This shift changes everything. Because when adversity becomes a teacher rather than an enemy, your relationship with hardship transforms. You stop fearing challenges. You start learning from them. Over time, this mindset builds resilience. You become someone who remains steady when circumstances become uncertain. A mentally unbreakable person is not someone who never experiences hardship. It is someone who has trained their mind to respond wisely when hardship arrives. Every challenge becomes preparation for the next one. Every difficult moment becomes a step in strengthening character. And slowly, through repeated exposure to adversity, the mind becomes calmer, more disciplined, and more resilient. If reflections like this are helping you see hardship from a different perspective, consider subscribing to the channel. Here we explore Stoic ideas that help people transform difficulty into strength. Because resilience is not something people are born with, it is something they build. 7. Discipline creates freedom. Many people believe freedom means doing whatever they want. No structure, no restrictions, no responsibility. At first, this idea seems appealing, but over time, something surprising happens. A life without discipline becomes chaotic. Distractions consume attention, goals remain unfinished, time disappears without meaningful progress. Without discipline, freedom slowly turns into confusion. The Stoic philosophers understood something deeper. True freedom comes from self-mastery. When you discipline your habits, your time becomes purposeful. When you discipline your thoughts, your emotions become stable. When you discipline your attention, your life becomes intentional. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a tool that allows you to shape your life deliberately instead of drifting through it unconsciously. Think about how powerful small habits can become when repeated daily. A disciplined morning routine creates a focused start to the day. A focused day creates productive progress. Productive days slowly build meaningful achievements. Over time, those small habits transform into a completely different life. The Stoics practiced discipline because it created independence. A disciplined mind cannot easily be controlled by fear, distraction, or temptation. It remains steady even when emotions attempt to take control. The philosopher Epictetus taught that the person who cannot control their desires is not truly free. They are controlled by impulses. True freedom appears when you guide your behavior according to your principles instead of your temporary emotions. This kind of freedom is powerful because it does not depend on external circumstances. Even in difficult environments, a disciplined mind remains independent. It chooses patience instead of anger. It chooses focus instead of distraction. It chooses perseverance instead of surrender. Each day offers a quiet opportunity to practice this discipline. The choices may seem small. Waking up when you plan to wake up, finishing tasks even when motivation fades, remaining calm when situations become frustrating. But over time, these small decisions shape the person you become. A mentally unbreakable person is not someone who never struggles with discipline. It is someone who practices discipline consistently, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it requires effort, because they understand that discipline is not limiting their freedom, it is creating it. If you want to continue developing this kind of Stoic discipline and mental clarity, consider subscribing to the channel. Together, we explore timeless ideas that help people strengthen their minds and build purposeful lives, because discipline practiced daily eventually becomes a powerful form of freedom. 8. Remember that life is temporary. One of the most powerful practices in Stoic philosophy is something called memento mori. It is a Latin phrase that means, remember that you will die. At first, this idea may sound dark or uncomfortable. Most people avoid thinking about mortality. They push the thought away whenever it appears. But the Stoics believed remembering the temporary nature of life creates something powerful. Clarity. When you remember that life is limited, your priorities begin to change. Suddenly, the arguments that once felt important become trivial. The opinions of strangers lose their weight. The distractions that consume so much time start to feel meaningless. You begin to see life with sharper focus. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself regularly that both praise and criticism eventually fade. Fame fades, wealth fades, even great achievements are eventually forgotten. But this realization is not meant to make life feel empty. It is meant to make life feel precious. Every morning becomes a gift of time. Every day becomes an opportunity to live intentionally. When you understand that time is limited, you begin asking different questions. How should I use today? What kind of person do I want to become? What actions truly matter? The Stoics believed reflecting on mortality gives us the courage to live fully. Instead of drifting through life unconsciously, you begin acting deliberately. You invest more time in meaningful work. You invest more time in relationships that matter. You invest more time strengthening your character, because deep down you understand something many people try to ignore. Time is passing, and each day is part of the story you are writing with your life. A mentally unbreakable person does not fear this truth. They use it. They allow it to guide their priorities and sharpen their focus. When you remember that life is temporary, you stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin living with purpose. You begin now. If ideas like this resonate with you, and you want to continue exploring Stoic wisdom that brings clarity and purpose to everyday life, consider subscribing to the channel. Because the goal of Stoicism is not simply to understand philosophy, it is to live wisely. The brutal Stoic laws we explored today are not easy. They challenge many of the habits and assumptions people carry through life. But they also offer something powerful: clarity. When you understand what you can control, your mind becomes calmer. When you accept discomfort as part of growth, your resilience increases. When you value time, your days become more intentional. When you master your thoughts, your emotions become steadier. When you stop chasing approval, your confidence becomes independent. When you face adversity with awareness, your character grows stronger. When you practice discipline, your life becomes purposeful. And when you remember that life is temporary, every moment gains meaning. These principles slowly transform the way you experience the world. They do not remove challenges, but they give you the strength to face those challenges without losing your composure. A mentally unbreakable person is not someone who never struggles. It is someone who has trained their mind to respond with wisdom instead of panic, and that training begins with small choices repeated every day. If this message helped you think differently about life, and you want to continue strengthening your Stoic mindset, subscribe to the channel. Here we explore timeless wisdom that helps people develop discipline, clarity, and resilience in a chaotic world. Because the strongest minds are not born. They are built, one thought, one habit, and one disciplined day at a time.